Hello my friends and welcome back. We just encountered some difficulties with the previous video. It just stopped on me. So I am at Versailles in their gardens right now in the Palace of Versailles in France. I made two videos today, one inside the palace, and that was cut short by the staff there who said at one point I should not videotape. And another one I started out there, up where the palace is, and I discussed current events. And here something happened and the video stopped. So I'm going to continue the last part of my analysis of the current events. Here I am near a beautiful, beautiful, how should I put it, lake, man-made lake. So this, remember, this is these are the gardens of Versailles, and beautiful. And there's some carp in the fountains over there, and here is a long stretch of old trees. I'm going to go that way because that's shade. So we left it off with the articles at Elon Musk, who said that civil war is going on or is coming to England because of those stabbings that occurred with those three miners by and Sputnik, as Sputnik said, that a Rwandan miner. The Western media would not tell you the ethnicity or the race of, my fellow Americans. They know when a crime was committed, and the media will not mention the adults, race or this and that for some time, not even the name, because you might recognize by the name. Or kind of like 99% of the time is who you suspect it is. So that's a giveaway. It's just idiotic. It's idiotic, but most people don't get it, therefore they continue doing that. So here in this article, where it comes from Sputnik, because those guys are telling the other side of the story, or one more, it says Elon Musk speculates civil war inevitable as violence sweeps UK, and I'm going to show you here the first paragraph, the Rwandan immigrant, and they say it's because of the far-right misinformation, which I don't think it was. It was clearly, they said it was this guy, his name, his origin, so we told you so. It doesn't mean you have to go and be violent about it, but what do you do when you have a tyrannical government that doesn't work for your interests? United States of America, I think we are entitled to use what we have in our possession in order to do something that we did in 1776, right? I mean, from what I read, it's not that but if a government becomes tyrannical, it's a duty of the people to change it. And if they can't change it in a democratic way, they will do it in a human way. All right, so we have this, and we go here. Police arrested dozens of people on Saturday as projectiles and fireworks were set off, and because they don't have weapons, they have, set on fire. Footage posted on social media showed crowds chanting anti-immigrant slogans such as, quote-unquote, stop the boats in Liverpool, in a reference to the dingish under the asylum seekers to cross the English Channel. Well, the fact is, our so-called leaders are not our so-called leaders. They answer to other interests who try to destroy our ethnic and the other kind of homogeneity. Therefore, divide and conquer, right? And impera, that is what these guys are doing. And how do you do that? Make us have the same value, which is money. Well, how do you get money? I get it from you, you get it from me, and so on. So it's a competition among us, like imbeciles, while they're over there determine who is in charge and who should be blamed for this, and who should fight against whom. They create a formant hatred among groups. But why do you have this kind of groups? So if they can't make it between, as they started first, if you remember, in the so-called hippie era, they started with the parents. Remember Jim Morrison? Why do you think Jim Morrison, which I like a lot, was so successful, among other reasons? It's because he was part of the big push to destroy the cohesion between the parents and the children, which is hate your parents, love the schools and the government, which is exactly what it is, but under the cloak that, hey, you're free, and actually you are a free person. You fight the man. No, you didn't fight the man. You fought you and your family, imbeciles. All right, so this is one thing. Now we have here the UK newly minted Labour Prime Minister Keir Starmer, an imbecile by the way, who has inherited the migrant crisis from the predecessor, faces an uphill battle to tackle illegal immigration. The number of people crossing the English Channel is currently estimated to be more than 10,000 people this year alone. Too bad, you destroy your country. It should be an immigration policy, but based on valor. Only certain kind of people of any group should come if they prove that they are productive members of the society. And not only that, because it's not only about the money, as I said. You have to be acculturated in the cultures you coming to. Well, that you don't like that, then stay the fuck in your own shit. All right? Now, we have here Sputnik. German politician calls for creation of European security architectures, including Russia. Of course, it's exactly what the Russians wanted for a long time. Remember, Russia asked the United States of America if they can be part of NATO, and Bill Clinton said no. Why? Because NATO is against you, you idiots. But they all knew. They did it as they did it with the Warsaw Pact. If you remember, the Russians asked at that time, not the Russians, I'm sorry, I apologize, I should do 1,000 push-ups. For that mistake, the Soviet Union asked, I think in 1950 something like this, before the Warsaw Pact was founded, they asked NATO, hey, can we be part of it? Then receive an answer which was clear, no. Therefore they created the Warsaw Pact. So the same here. The Russians always wanted to create an architecture, but they are too strong, and remember, the English cannot allow that. Remember, General de Gaulle of France used to say this to his fellow Europeans. Remember two things, at least. One, England is an island, and or Great Britain, highway on islands, but England is an island, and the United States of America, the Americans don't live in Europe. There is between us, we are, and the English foreign policy for centuries was no strong nation in mainland Europe. Why? Because they would fuck these guys up. That's why. Anyway, so Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has claimed Russia is not closing the door to dialogue with Western countries on issues of economic cooperation, infrastructure projects, as well as security and formation of a new security architecture in Eurasia. No, it's not going to happen. Europe is under the US's grip, and on this little threat, Russia will invade you tomorrow. The Europeans ask for more American troops to protect them. How do you think you're going to send them back? They will never leave. They will never leave. You'll see that. So by the time these guys are saying, okay, maybe we should invite Russia, the Americans will make sure, which Americans have their own traitors in the governments of these countries in Europe, will vote no and will make the decisions no. Remember, all these bureaucrats that are, for instance, even in the European Parliament, so-called European Parliament, in the European Commission, like let's say von der Leyen, she's not unelected. Borrell, foreign minister, unelected. Take United States, take United States of America. Take, for instance, Blinken, the Jewish foreign minister of America, of United States of America. He's unelected. He's unelected. So, see, I'll take Great Britain if you want. The king, unelected. Prime minister, unelected. These guys are unelected officials. Anyway, oh, here's like a cross. So we came from there, and we go there is, and there is a cross, goes this way and goes that way, the water. So let's see what's next. UK joins US in deploying military forces to Middle East after Israeli escalation. So again, we are supposed to fight for other people because it's that other people interest. And those people in our countries, they babooned our society, our people, to believe that that country or that tribe's interests are our interests as well. No, they're not. No, they're not. But this is how they did it with university, with mass media, with politicians. They conflated that shitty thing being our interest. No, it's not. but you have to break away, be capable to say, wait a minute, why is it? You know, all this so-called traditional and strong bond. There's no such a thing that was created by professors, by politicians that were pushed with money in positions of power, by their mass media, by their entertaining industry, and so on. No, they're not together. They have their own interest, we have our own interest. Sometimes our interests are aligned, but sometimes they're not. And in this case, UK and US send our military to fight over there. Why? Because a country fights for self-defense, and they're going to bombard probably Lebanon in a near future. Therefore, we have to be over there to make sure that nobody moves until these guys are going to pound the bed. Hezbollah, correct? What they did in Gaza is going to move on. And they also hit targets in Iran, and we should be okay with that and defend them because they have the right to self-defense. I'm talking about Israel, obviously. United Kingdom and Israel significantly upgraded relations in 2021 to, and I'm quoting, strategic partnership status. They're gonna drag us to hell. They're gonna drag us to hell, but you know what? They're not gonna drag us. They're gonna push us. Why? Because they're gonna be okay. We are not gonna be okay. Military personnel are also in the process of deploying to the region to provide embassies with operational support to help Britain's nationals. Read the statement from Whitehall. This is garbage. And we have this article that comes from Sputnik. I read it from Agence France-Presse in the second video. And in the first video about Maduro. Maduro was elected with 51% or something as the president of Venezuela. And then the opposition started rioting, because that's what they do. When they lose, they riot. And when they win, they say it was the perfect election. So Agence France-Presse claimed that, you know, Maduro stole the elections, and the good people of the opposition who lost, they are just protesting, mostly peaceful protest. Now the Russians say something else about it. They report in a different light. Venezuelans take to streets in Caracas to celebrate Maduro's re-election. Look at this title. I'm going to show you the other title. So this is from 15 hours ago, right? Right there. I'm going to show you the other title. And it says here, Venezuela's National Electoral Council announced that Maduro secured 51% of the vote in the recent election, while his main opposition garnered 45%. Okay, good for you, good for you. Do I care? No. But why do I say this? Because that's another point where the big interests on this planet want those guys is oil. If Venezuela had no oil, you wouldn't have them in the news. So let me show you the other article. So go straight to the other one so we can compare and contrast the title. Right here, Agence France-Presse. You see over there? And the title reads, Venezuela, led by its leader, the opposition defies Maduro in the streets. The Venezuelan opposition leader reappeared Saturday to lead a demonstration of thousands of supporters in Caracas and contest the re-election of President Nicolas Maduro, whose supporters also gathered to celebrate victory, quote unquote. So the thing that those guys came to celebrate, it was not only the other guys are celebrating. You see, this is how media is made by Agence France-Presse. I don't read France-Presse to make my opinion or I learn about it, but to figure out how these guys, what kind of spin they give to the news. And you learn a lot. That's a way to learn. And again, Venezuelans take to streets to Caracas to celebrate Maduro's re-election. And we have US military continues to reinforce bases in Syria amid Mid-East escalation. So remember, the US and any other forces in Syria are illegally deployed. So they're occupying a sovereign, independent country like the Russians occupied Ukraine. Remember? So we have here the Americans in the northeast of Syria. They just came over there because they were asked by the so-called democratic forces, which are not legitimate. They can't just call, right now I just form an organization, I call it democratic, and I say, you know what, I want the Russians to drop right here in Paris or something, or in Versailles. No, it's not like that. But nevertheless, we have the coalition forces fighting ISIS in Syria. Remember who started the civil war in Syria? Yeah, exactly. The evil Bashar al-Assad. Just kidding. So these guys bring more troops. over there because they are a force of occupation. But it's not called that. It's called, you know, helping and all kind of euphemistic garbages. All right, let's say here. The US military continues to reinforce its bases in the Al-Hasakah province in northeastern Syria, bringing in additional Apache helicopters and military equipment. A Syrian military source told Sputnik, US forces, and I'm quoting, has reinforced their bases with 15 Apache helicopters to improve their ability to conduct attacks. So, a US military plane landed in Papapap, air defense missiles, logistics, equipment, and the last one, UK nuclear submarines engineers use software developed in Russia and Belarus. Oy vey, I thought that those guys can even build a house or something in Russia and Belarus, but now it seems like the UK, the smart UK, we know we are the technology, we are using, UK is using software developed in Russia and Belarus. This is according to these guys. So you trust it and you don't trust them. Is this, let's see, is this the Trianon? If it's Trianon, I will, Trianon, remember it was where the armistice was signed between, after the First World War. And it's right here on the domains of Versailles. But no, it's not. Right, I don't have a ticket, but I'm gonna push myself in. It's right here. I made a point in the second video from Versailles about who the Americans, what the American delegation was, I think, according to Clemenceau, when they came for the peace process, and I think it was the 14 of Woodrow Wilson. Clemenceau did not recognize the Americans as, those are not the Americans, those are the ones who are still right now in the US State Department, overrepresented and with a big grip of our foreign policy. Who they? Oy vey, I don't know. Okay, Moscow. Nuclear submarine engineers in the United Kingdom are using software developed in Russia and Belarus in violations of rules imposed by the Ministry of Defense. The Telegraph has reported, citing the ministry. No surprise whatsoever. No surprise whatsoever. Why? Because they are not consistent. They always allow loopholes. So this is the Trianon buildings. The big Trianon and the small, the Grand Trianon and the Petit Trianon, if I remember correctly. So there's two palaces where the delegations after the First World War showed up here, and they carved and they imposed those idiotic punishments on Germany, who somehow lost the war. Why do I say somehow? Let me give you two hints, or two pieces of information, it's not hints. First, at the time they signed the armistice, the Germans, no German territory was occupied by the so-called Allies. None. And when I ask you, hey, and I will ask you, who lost the First World War? You definitely will tell me Germany. But it was not Germany, it was Austria-Hungary. But you are never mention that. Why? Because you need to hate certain people. Now, it's true that the Austrians are Germans or Germanic tribes, but because of some understanding, I think it was in the 18th century, they decided, or 19th century, 1800s, they decided that they will not ever, Grand Trianon, thank you, my love, thank you, I can't freaking believe. I like this one, for me, for my own, better than Versailles. Versailles was fantastic, fantastic. I was not disappointed. Look at this, Grand Trianon, Domaine de Trianon. So they make wine here. This is where these guys imposed on Germany those draconian, imbecilic rules and punishment that helped the Adolfian be elected, his party, with 33% of the votes, right? So that's how they came to power. Look at this, Trianon, Grand Trianon, oh boy. And here is beautiful, right here. So you can just go here, Again, the same things here that keep together the slabs, the metal thing here and here. Now I don't know when this is put because it seems like it's added a little bit, you know, around. In Sarmisegetusa is the same. In Sarmisegetusa Regia. All right, I think we can't go past this, right?
Oui, excusez-moi, tout va bien pour la radio. J'ai juste parlé.
I think it's good enough we got here. It's good enough we got here. My God. Why? Because look, it's 30 minutes walk back to the, how do you call it? Versailles. What time is it? 7 p.m. I know you can be in the gardens until 8 p.m. Right there, my friends. So here's the place where these guys made one of the worst mistakes for humanity. They did something they were not supposed to do, and again, it was not Germany who started the First World War, it was Austria-Hungary who started the war because of Duke, whatever his name is, Archduke Ferdinand, wasn't it? In Sarajevo, that was assassinated by that. Go and check that guy out, who that guy was. Well, my friends, it's the same thing when the Kristallnacht occurred. Was that? In Paris, an assassination of a German official by, go and check the guys who assassinated him, his name. You're gonna not be surprised. A little communist with a particular name and particular ethnicity. Hint. All right, friends, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth. Go and watch the other 2 videos that I made. This is Victory, Trianon. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. See you later, my friends.